You know when you think you've seen it all at Ford Field, and then another bombshell drops? Yeah, this week brought news that hits you right in the gut if you're a Lions fan. It's not just another locker room update. It's the kind of news that'll be the topic of barstool debates for days. The defense, which already has that gritty, grit of Detroit look, is now facing an unexpected challenge. But hold on, because that's just the beginning. There's more coming, and I guarantee you'll want to stick around for the whole thing. Before we dive into the news, let me ask for one quick favor. If you're all about this one pride talk, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button too. It really helps amplify our voice here in Detroit. And leave a comment. I want to hear from you. What's your most memorable moment with this team so far? Let's get a conversation going. This space is ours. The biggest blow of the week was hearing Dan Campbell confirm that Marcus Davenport isn't likely to play against the Ravens. Man, oh man, that stings. The defense was already being tested, and losing a piece like that early in the season definitely makes you nervous. But don't panic. The coach was direct about it. It's not a season-ending injury. That's a huge relief because we all know that losing a key defensive lineman for a long time can completely derail the game plan. To be honest with you, I was torn. On one hand, it's tough to imagine our pass rush without the boost from Davenport, who came here specifically to take some pressure off Hutchinson. On the other hand, Campbell showed confidence in the group, especially veteran Al-Quadin Muhammad. And anyone who's seen his snaps knows the guy plays with heart. Defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard even highlighted it, saying that since camp, Muhammad never asked for anything guaranteed. He just went out there and played like it was the Super Bowl. And folks, that's the standard Detroit loves. The reality is Muhammad may not have Davenport's youth, but he has experience. And more importantly, he gives his all on every single play. Have you seen that number 96 running on the field? That's pure sweat. That's Lions' identity. Shepard even said it. Forget stats, look at the effort. And I agree. Here in Detroit, the fans connect with a player who never gives up, even if he doesn't make the front page. Of course, it's scary to think about what's ahead without Davenport. We're facing the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson doesn't miss an opportunity. But if there's one thing this team has shown since Campbell took over, it's that they always find a way. I nearly jumped off my couch last week watching Hutchinson get pressure even when they were double-teaming him. And now, with Muhammad getting more snaps, the rotation can hold down the fort until Davenport gets back. Another thing that gives me hope is Campbell's own words. He was transparent. He should have a better idea of a timeline by Saturday or Sunday. In other words, we aren't in the dark. That means a lot for fan confidence, because we've lived through times when injuries were a mystery and we only found out just before the game. Now at least, the coach treats us like we're part of the process, and there's more. This challenge also serves to test the depth of the roster. Anyone who's followed the Lions knows that for years when a starter went down, it felt like the world was ending. Not anymore. Today we have guys who can step in and maintain the level of play. That's culture. That's team building. In the end, there's no denying that losing Davenport hurts right now, but it also shows how much this defense has a collective spirit. One pride isn't just a pretty phrase, it's the face of players like Muhammad, who throw themselves into every snap like it's their last. And hold on tight, because the next piece of news is about our offense trying to exorcise a ghost in Baltimore. You remember exactly which one I'm talking about. Analysts are already bringing up that ugly beatdown in Baltimore last season. And look, I know a lot of you still feel the same pain. 38-6. It was one of those games that gives you goosebumps just to remember, because before we could even get a first down, the score was already 28-0. Lamar Jackson did whatever he wanted that afternoon. And now, guess who's talking about it with confidence? Sam Laporta, our tight end who's showing the maturity of a veteran. To be honest with you, I love his attitude. The guy looked back and said it plain and simple. We got dominated. We didn't play complimentary football. That hurts, but it's the truth. That day, we didn't see Campbell's Lions. We saw a team that was lost. And Laporta is using that memory as fuel. He said that this time, the team has to start faster, and if they fall behind, they can't panic. My friends, that's growth. The coolest part was hearing him bring up the Bills as an example, turning the game around against the Ravens even when they were in a tough spot. It's that whole thing. A 21-point difference isn't the end of the world. And if there's an offense in the league that has shown its firepower, it's ours. Just remember, last week we put up 52 points, spreading the ball around to everyone. Even Khalif Raymond, who a lot of people don't even have on their radar, made a highlight reel with blocks that opened up big plays. And Laporta made a point to highlight that, calling attention to the collective spirit. And here I have to pause for a second. To see a rookie tight end appreciate a wide receiver's dirty blocking is true Lions culture. It shows that the locker room is different, that there's no ego, only one pride. Laporta even joked that there are a lot of mouths to feed, but everyone has embraced the idea of working without the ball too. It's beautiful to see because we've had years with offenses where if the ball wasn't coming their way, the player would just disappear. Not today. Today it's about sweat, effort, and playing as a team. And what about him? Of course, he wants more passes, but he's also proud of helping protect Goff. We had 180 rushing yards and a clean pocket for basically the whole game. That's a win for him too. And I'll tell you, fan, when a rookie talks with this kind of maturity, you start to believe you're watching a star being born for the next decade. Now, let's not be naive. Playing in Baltimore is a tough challenge. The atmosphere, the crowd, the memory of that ass-kicking, all of it weighs on you. But the difference is that today, the Lions carry the confidence of a division leader, not an underdog. This team knows it can go toe-to-toe with any defense, and Laporta is taking on that responsibility without fear. Comment below, do you believe this offense can really turn the game around if they start slow again? I want to feel that energy, because the next piece of news is even hotter. It's about a possible major trade. When we talk about our defense, everyone immediately thinks of Hutchinson. The kid has become a symbol of this new era, and for good reason. But, hang on a second, you don't win in the NFL with just one edge rusher, and that's why some serious talk has started to pop up. The Lions are eyeing Jalen Phillips from the Miami Dolphins if things get tight by the trade deadline. Look, I'll be direct, I'd be excited. Phillips is still young, he has that burst, he's shown plenty of talent when he's healthy. In his first 2 seasons, he had over 15 sacks. The problem is exactly that when he's healthy part. In the last 2 years, he's only played 12 games. That's when that doubt from a seasoned fan kicks in. Is it worth the risk on a guy like that? To be honest with you, I think it is, as long as the price is right. The Dolphins are 0-3. Things aren't looking good there. And if they decide to part ways with him for a day 3 pick, it would be a golden opportunity. It's not every day that an edge rusher of this caliber is available on the market. And let's be real, with Davenport hurt and Pascal still a ways off, our rotation is thin. Just hoping Hutchinson saves everything is a recipe for our defense to break down mid-season. Another point that excites me is the cap space. The Lions are among the teams with the most available money, over $30 million. That gives us the flexibility to absorb a contract without messing with the core of the roster. And between us, seeing Hutchinson and Phillips side by side would be something out of a video game. Just imagine the pressure on opposing quarterbacks. The Packers, Bears, Vikings. Nobody would sleep easy. Of course, we can't forget that Holmes, our GM, is not a fool. He only brings in guys who fit the culture. Phillips would have to show hunger, dedication, and that grit of Detroit spirit. It's no good showing up as a star and not putting in the work. Here, even an 8-year veteran kills himself on preseason snaps, as we saw with Muhammad. That's the standard. But I'll confess, just thinking about a high-impact reinforcement at the trade deadline gives me that fangirl chill. Because when Detroit makes moves like that, it's a sign that they're aiming high. It's not just to fill a hole, it's to compete. And I want to see this team competing until the end of January. Fans, I want to hear from you. Is it worth betting on Phillips even with his injury history, or is it better to hold on to our draft picks? This conversation is going to be good because it messes with everyone's expectations. And hold on tight because the last bit of news is going to hit every Lions fan right in the feels. It's about the future of our offensive line after Ragnow's retirement. When Ragnow announced his retirement at 29, it felt like a prank. We were used to seeing the guy dominating in the middle of the line, going to the Pro Bowl, getting high ratings from PFF, and all of a sudden, poof, it's over. I know he was dealing with injuries, but losing someone of that caliber so early still hurts. And now what? Who's going to hold down the middle of our offensive line? The immediate answer was to move Graham Glasgow to center, and it worked in part. The veteran knows the position, already had experience, and in pass protection, he's been getting the job done. But let's be real, in the running game, it's been tough. The PFF ratings don't lie. The difference between him and Ragnow is glaring. And the fans can see it. I even saw a play where the hole didn't open up by even 1.5 feet. It's hard to run that way. That's where the debate about the future comes in. This week, a draft projection came out putting the Lions picking Connor Lew from Auburn at the end of the first round of the 2026 draft. The guy is young, has been growing since his freshman year, and is already being called a future NFL center. It would be a safe pick, it would fill the biggest hole right away, and it would give stability to Goff or whoever comes after him. But, projecting a draft this early is a long shot. Another alternative is already on the roster. Tate Ratledge, our 2025 rookie. He's playing guard, but he also has the profile of a center. Holmes even mentioned that they could have left him there. If he develops, he could become a homegrown solution without using a high draft pick. And I'll confess, I love it when we find the answer in-house. It gives you that feeling that the front office's plan is solid, but there's no denying it. Ragnow was special. Not just any prospect is going to replace the leadership and consistency he brought. The offensive line has been the heart and soul of this offense for the past few seasons, and losing the anchor in the middle shakes things up. Not to the point of collapse, because we still have great names, but it affects confidence. And the Lions' offense only works at its best when the running game is flowing. To be honest with you, I think the path will be a hybrid one. Glasgow holds down the fort in the short term. Ratledge could become a project in the medium term, and maybe, a guy like Lou comes along in the draft. It's not a one-piece solution, it's building a new pillar, and Detroit has shown that they know how to build with patience. Comment below, would you rather bet on a young guy in the draft or trust that Ratledge will become that future center? I want to know, because this discussion is going to go on for a while. And stick around, because now it's time to tie everything together into a conclusion that will get every Lions fan hyped up. You know what's left after all this? This team has learned to take every punch as fuel. Davenport's injury, the bitter memory against the Ravens, the debate about defensive reinforcements, and even the hole left by Ragnow, it all becomes energy. Today, the Lions are no longer supporting characters. They are protagonists who carry the grit of Detroit on their chest. And I'll tell you what, this group has that January feel. Comment below, this space belongs to everyone who lives and breathes one pride.